Welcome back, guys, to another video. And on today's video I'm going to be showing you guys exactly what you need to know to start working with real estate agents in order to get your wholesale deals. So if you don't already know, yes, you can get wholesale deals by working with real estate agents, and yes, there are properties that are currently on the MLS that could be potential wholesale deals, right? And a lot of wholesalers think that you can't actually hit the MLS and find deals there. For some reason, most wholesalers, when they see a deal that's with an agent, they're going to think it's not a deal. There's no way. Let me not even make an offer. That's not true. I used to think that as well. Honestly, I used to think heavily that if it was with an agent, I wouldn't even bother because it's not a deal. And I'm here to tell you guys that is 100% false. It's always worth it. You can at least make an offer with an agent. But in this video, I'm going to be specifically talking about some terms you're going to need to know when presenting the offer. I'm also going to be talking about the good things and the bad things about working with agents. I'm also going to be giving you guys 2 ways that you can start reaching out with agents. So pretty much it's like a little game plan, I guess, because there's 2 ways that you can actually start marketing to agents and working with them. So we're going to be talking about that all in this video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. You subscribe if you want to. Totally up to you guys, but let's take it straight to the video. So I have my iPad with me, guys. As you know, I love my iPad because it makes everything so much easier. You're still going to be assigning your contract. The process is still the same. Even though there's an agent involved, that agent is only representing the seller. So instead of you talking directly to the seller, you're going to be talking to the agent. You never want to go behind the agent. You never want to talk to the seller because obviously they hired an agent to represent them. And the process is still going to be the same. You're still going to sign your contract. You're still going to get an inspection period. You're still going to put earnest money. You're still going to have your buyer walk through. So first thing we're going to talk about is process is still the same. Okay, you're still assignment of contract to buyer is still, still the same. Okay, so I want you guys to know that the process is 100% still the same. It's just a few more components because you're working with an agent now. Okay, so process is still the same. You're still assigning the contract to the buyer. You're still going to be wholesaling it. The key difference here is that you're not going to say you're a wholesaler. You're going to say you're an investor, you're a cash buyer, which leads me to the good and the bad. So let's talk about what are the good things and also what are the bad things about working with agents, right? So the good things are there's no marketing cost. This is the only way you're going to get a deal for free. Well, one of the only ways. There are other ways that require work as well, but this is one of the ways that you can get a deal with no marketing expense. So no marketing expense, right? That's good. Another good thing is that if you find an agent that you really like and they understand how investors work, that agent can bring you deals over and over and over. So you can get multiple deals from one agent. Okay, so it's pretty much all about relationships when it comes to real estate agents, because when you're working with a homeowner, chances are they only have 1 or 2 houses that they want to sell, and chances are you're probably only going to work with them one time. Whereas with an agent, you're going to work with them repeatedly. If they see that you can actually perform and you closed with them before, and they've seen you actually close on a previous property they had, that agent is going to trust you more. So they're going to continue bringing you properties, which means you're going to keep having properties that you can make offers on, that you can potentially wholesale. So with a seller, you only get 1 property. With an agent, you can get endless amount of listings, endless amount of properties, and essentially you'll close more deals with just that 1 agent. Ships, guys, it all boils down to that with an agent. Now, that's good, no marketing expenses. You get multiple deals from 1 agent. This is about relationships. Now, the bad thing about working with agents is that it is time consuming. It is very time consuming. if you have a job or if you're doing something else, you know, you are going to have to be making offers for about 5 hours a day. Like, it's literally going to have to be you. It cannot be a virtual assistant. It has to be you or an acquisition manager, right? And acquisition managers are not cheap to hire, so it's definitely going to be time consuming. On top of that, there is going to be some sort of tension, and no one wants to talk about this, but it is true. There is going to be tension between the agent and you a little bit because your offer is going to come in way below. So just get used to the fact that there is some tension there. Your offer is going to be low, and brings us to our next point. We are going to come across a lot of savvy real estate agents, and these real estate agents are going to ask you about your plan to renovate, what exactly you're going to do. They get really deep into the comps, and you really need to know your stuff, okay? It's not like working with a homeowner. Homeowners typically, you talk more about the situation than you do about the comps most of the time. With an agent, you're not really talking mainly about their situation. You're trying to get the situation, but some agents really just want to focus on the number. Okay, what can you offer? Okay, why are you offering that price? Where did you see this? Where did you see that? So there is a little bit more tension, which also brings me to my next point, that you need to be very, very savvy in how you say things, how you explain. You need to be extremely confident. And if you're someone new that just learned about wholesaling yesterday, then chances are it's going to be a little more difficult for you to sound professional, sound savvy. But no worries, you can still make these calls. You're only going to get better by failing. You know, fail forward. You're going to learn as you keep handling objections with these agents, as you keep, you know, agents are going to tell you, like, yeah, that doesn't make sense and whatnot. Which brings us to another good point. Another good point is agents are straightforward. What I mean by that is, where an agent is 100% transparent with you most of the time. They're going to tell you, yeah, that offer's too low, the seller would never take it, you're wasting your time. They'll straight up tell you that, so you skip a lot of the BS when dealing with an agent, because an agent is going to tell you straight up how it is. Yeah, your offer's too low, or yeah, I might be able to work that, or yeah, just follow up with me in the future because that's not going to work at all right now. So an agent is always going to be straightforward, and it's going to save you time. That's one of the big plus sides of working with agents. They're going to tell you the truth and how it is. They're going to be straightforward with you about your offer. They're going to be straightforward about the situation. Most of the time they are. Sellers typically lie a lot. Back to the bad, there's tension, you know, because your offer is a lot lower. Also, you need to sound savvy. Savvy, confident. You must. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing because you must know your numbers, but if you're working with agents, you 1000% need to know exactly how to comp and where you came up with your ARV. If you talk to a seller, you know, most of the time they don't really know what to ask, but agents, they know what to ask. Agents are not always right. Agents don't necessarily comp like an appraiser or an investor does, but they do want to ask, they are going to be asking questions, so you need to know why your ARV is where it's at. So you must know your numbers so well so you can explain to agent, right? Now, let's just take a look at the list, right? So the good thing is there's no marketing expense. You get multiple deals from working with one agent. It's all about relationships. Agents are pretty straightforward. They're going to tell you yes or no. There's no chasing them or anything like that. They're going to tell you straight off if the offer will work or not, right? Now, bad things is it's very time consuming. There's going to be tension. You need to sound savvy, confident, and you need to know your numbers very well to the point that you can actually teach the real estate agent how you got your number. Okay, so you need to sound very confident, right? That might be tough for those of you that are brand new and just starting off, but just because you don't know and you're not savvy doesn't mean you shouldn't try. You're only going to get better as you keep trying. Some of the terms that you're going to need to know. So let's get straight into the terms, right? Terms. Right. So whenever you're submitting an offer to an agent, they're going to tell you like, hey, text me the offer, email me the offer. You can give the price through the phone, but the offer details, like what the offer includes, is going to be on based on these terms right here. So you're going to need to give them the buyer name. You're also going to need to give them the title company, right? That's going to be you're going to be using. So the buyer name, title company, the earnest money, how much earnest money. You're going to need to tell them what type of financing you're going to be using, which is usually always going to be cash or hard money, right? I mean, when you present the offer to the agent and they tell you, hey, text me over the offer, this is where you're texting them. And the IP. Now, IP stands for the inspection period. How long the inspection period, which typically the inspection period, agents are okay with 5 to 7 days. If you want to be competitive, you can say like 2-3 day inspection period. But aside from these terms, there are going to be some additional things you want to mention to them, right? Some additional terms that you'll tell them would be, it's an as is, and buyer pays customary closing costs, buyer pays customary cost. Another one you might say is, we need access to property 24-hour notice, something like that, that states that you actually need access to the property. And obviously you'll give the seller, the agent, 24 hours so they can tell the seller in case there's tenants in there. So these are the terms that you're going to need when you're writing up the offer. Buyer, which is the name of your LLC. The title company, which needs to be a friendly, investor-friendly title company. They need to know how to double close. They need to know how to do assignments. You never want to use the title company that the agent is bringing, because that title company, chances are they're not going to do assignments. But it's always good that you call them and ask them if they're doing assignments, right? Because you're going to be assigning it. And if the title company doesn't know how to do that, your deal, it's not going to go through. EMD. Now that is also one of the bad things about working with agents, right? So they are going to require earnest money, right? Now there's one way to get out of this. Typically, if you're going direct to seller, the seller will be okay if you say an earnest money for $100, $500, $200. They're fine with that. But when you're with an agent, they're not going to be okay with that type of earnest money. They're going to want at least a couple thousand, 1,000, 2,000, maybe even 3,000. Some states even more than 3,000, right? But they're going to want a big earnest money. Now, what you can do is you can tell the agent you'll give the earnest money after the inspection period. That's what I've been doing. You'll tell them you'll give them EMD after the inspection period. Now, the thing that sucks is that some agents are not okay with that and they just won't take your offer because of that. But doesn't matter, you're not going to be able to put $3,000 for every single property, right? That's just not going to work for you. So that's just something that also sucks. But yeah, there's a workaround. It's a less appealing offer to the agent. But hey, if they're really motivated, they'll take that offer with the EMD after inspection period, right? So the buyer's name, the title company, which needs to be an investor-friendly title company, EMD, which you can give to them after the inspection period, but you need to state it. So make sure you state EMD after IPI, right? Because remember, you get an inspection period, and the inspection period is your way out. So within that inspection period, you can say, hey, I don't want the property no more, and there will be no legal repercussions or anything like that, right? Now, financing, it's going to be cash or hard money because your buyer is going to be bringing in cash or hard money. Purchase price, how much you are buying the property for, right? IP, the inspection period. How long is your inspection period? Some additional terms is the property as is. Buyer pays all customary closing costs, and something along the lines that we need access to the property within a 24-hour notice, right? Now, one of the main things you're going to need this contract to state, and I'm going to put this in red, is, well, there's two things. Either it doesn't say that this contract is not assignable. So it cannot state the contract is not assignable. Okay. So either any contract is assignable as long as it doesn't say otherwise, right? So if the contract says this is not assignable, then obviously it's not assignable. You're not going to be able to assign it to your cash buyer. But if the contract does not say that, then it is assignable, okay? But if you want to be safe, you can always add the and or assigns, right? You would put that after your buyer, right? So your LLC slash and or assigns, okay? You might even want to put it in the terms like this contract is assignable, okay? So remember, the agent is the one that's going to write up the contract for you, right? When they write up the contract for you, they need your terms. And here are the terms: the name, the title company, the EMD, how much you're putting for EMD, right? The financing, the purchase price, the inspection period. They're going to need the additional terms, but they're also going to need to know, the additional terms, which is, are you assigning the contract? The reason they need to know that is because if they don't know that you're assigning the contract, then they might just make the contract not assignable. And if it's not assignable, then you can't assign it to your cash buyer. But if it is assignable, which the only way you'll know it's assignable is if it doesn't state this contract is not assignable. If you want to be extra careful, you'll make sure it doesn't state that, and you're also going to write and or assigns. You can even go ahead and put that this contract is assignable for additional terms. Okay, 100% crystal clear. Now, this is how you would basically email your offer to the agent with all these terms. That's going to make you look very professional. Now, we spoke about the process is still the same. You're still going to be assigning your contract. We talked about the good and the bad. Now, what we're also going to talk about is how you can actually start marketing to agents, right? Now, there's two different ways, right? The first option that you have is by actually going and getting MLS access. So, getting MLS access, or using a tool called Privy that gives you MLS listings. And now what you'll do is you'll actually call these real estate agents on their listed properties and you'll make them an offer. First you'll comp it, you'll call them up, present your offer, right? So that's option number one. MLS access if you're an agent, or if you got a friend maybe that can hook you up, cool. But if you don't, you can get Privy. Privy is going to give you MLS listings. And now the point of this is to search up your market. So let's do Fort Worth, Texas. This is my market, right? Fort Worth, Texas, right? So we can actually get access to MLS listings. And the cool thing about this is that we can actually filter based on a percentage of ARV, right? So we'll go to active. We'll do fix and flip properties and this percentage of ARV here. This is actually very important because now you're not going to just be looking at all the listed properties on the MLS. You're going to be looking at properties that are listed a little bit below ARV. And the only reason a property would be listed below what it's worth fully renovated is if it's not renovated, right? And we're looking for properties to wholesale, so we're actually looking for the ones that are listed below ARV. Going to save you guys a lot of time. So single family, active, and let's do 65% of ARV, right? And then this Privy preferred, and we'll do run search. And now here we have a bunch of properties, right? And we can start going through them. But look at this one. This one kind of looks. You can read the description. Look no further. This is truly an investor's dream. So you would search for the agent, which doesn't take much, because agents want to be found, so it's easy to find their information online. You'll call the agent, and then you'll make an offer. Right? First, you'll ask if it's available. Then you'll call them back after you comp it, and then you give them the offer. Just keep scrolling down over here, and you have a bunch of properties here that you can start making an offer on. That's why I would only use Privy pretty much to do market research, and if I'm looking for MLS listings, because now you know what you're looking for. Here you're looking at all these properties that are listed below the after repair value. That's option number one, right? So with this option number one, you're going to call the agent. You're going to call agent to see if the property is available. Then you're going to comp the property. Then you're going to call the agent back, and you're going to present your offer. And remember, you're going to present the offer with all your comps. You're going to present the offer with the numbers, okay? So you'll present the offer, you'll present your comps, and then the agent will tell you, like, yeah, maybe he'll consider this, or maybe he won't, or maybe he doesn't even want to present your offer, right? We always want to have a conversation and not get aggressive and get them to at least present a verbal offer. But once we have given the offer, we want to put this agent into our CRM so we can follow up with them in 30 days or 20 days in case the property doesn't sell. Because if the property doesn't sell, then obviously they're motivated. If it's still listed in the next 30 days, then guess what? They're going to be motivated, and then you will represent your offer. So after you call the agent to see if it's available, you comp the property, then you'll present the offer, you'll present with comps. Then if they reject it, you'll follow up, right? So follow up in the next 2 weeks. If it's still for sale. Cool. Right? So you're going to need a CRM. And you guys can use Trello, but a CRM is just pretty much going to have, something like this. Offers. Something that has offer sent, offer rejected, offer accepted, right? Something like that. Offer sent, offer rejected, offer accepted. So you'll write the name of the person here, the agent's name, and you'll put a follow-up date to follow up with them in 20 days, 2 weeks, something like that. You follow up with them if the property is still available, right? Now, that's the first way, by going on Privy and making offers directly to listing agents. The other way, option number 2, is by buying a list. Now, you know how you buy seller lists, motivated seller lists? You go to Batch, you buy a list, Bill's Real Estate Agent List. Now, Dr. Bill Real Estate Agent List, this is a completely different place. It's the only place that has agent lists and are accurate. I've spent about close to $1,000 on agent lists. I bought a list for Tennessee, and I bought a list for Fort Worth, Dallas. So they are going to give you the name of the agent, the broker, the email, and the phone number. Yeah, so this is realestateagentlist.com, and this is Dr. Bill's real estate agent lists. And you can actually just come in here and search for the specific state, and then in the state you can select the county, and then you can buy the list, right? So you can go to counties here, and he has all different types of counties. This is for New York. When you buy the list, it's going to have the number, the email address, the agent's name, their broker, and it's going to give you either the landline or the mobile number, right, if they have a cell phone. The only place I know that sells real estate agent lists that I've personally tried, so yeah. Right? So, when you purchase that list, it's going to be almost like contacting a homeowner, except you're going to ask them different things, right? So when you get that list, let's pretend this is your list, right? You just bought it from there. The list is going to have their number, the email, their name. Now, in that list, you're going to have landlines. In that list, you're also going to have mobile numbers. Now, if you're on a budget, then just get a dialer and call them. Upload that list into the dialer, into batch dialer. Check the link below. You put that list in batch dialer and you'll just start calling the agent one by one, asking them if they have any investor properties that you can make an offer on. If they say no, then you'll tell them, okay, great, can I save your contact information and just keep me in mind in case you have any properties. Me and my team are looking to buy houses to renovate. Here's my information. And you build a relationship with them, right? If you are not going to be calling them, then what I personally do is I take the landlines and I put them in the dialer. And I take the mobiles and I put those mobile numbers into REI reply. Or whatever texting, whatever SMS texting service you want to use, right? So I take those mobile numbers and I actually text agents. I send about 100 to 200 texts a day. And what I text the agent is pretty simple. You just want to say something along the lines of, hey, I'm a flipper and I'm looking to buy my next flip. Do you have anything like that? Do you come across anything like that? Pretty simple. So you're going to now ask them, hey, do you have a house you want to sell? Obviously, they're a real estate agent. You're not going to ask them as you would a homeowner. Instead, you're going to ask them, hey, I need your help. I'm looking for my next flip. Do you have anything coming up like that? Anything along those lines works perfectly fine, right? So you text blast those agents or you call those agents. Now, the whole point of doing this type of outreach is you want to establish a connection with the real estate agent. You want that agent to know that you are the person that's flipping properties in that area, and that if they have any ugly properties or any properties that need a quick closing, that they can send the address to you and you'll comp it and you'll give them an offer. That's the whole point of doing this. It doesn't matter if you're calling them or if you're putting them in REI reply. The whole point of this, the entire point, so let's take an arrow and put it right here. Right? The whole point of doing this outreach to an agent is because you want their off-market leads. You want them, you want to, obviously they're off-market leads, but you also want a relationship. Right? So you're trying to get the off-market leads. You're also trying to build a relationship with them. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this relationship is because if they trust you and they know that you're buying investor properties, whenever they come across any investor house or ugly house, guess what? They're going to call you and you're going to make that offer, right? That's what the whole point of this outreach that you're doing is for, right? So one way of doing it is getting MLS access and actually, or getting privy and making offers directly on their listings. Or the second option is buying a list from Dr. Bill's real estate agent list and reaching out to those agents, either by calling them or texting them, asking them and letting them know, asking them if they have any investment properties right now. And if they don't, telling them that you're currently buying, and if they come across any, that they can send them your way, right? That's the whole goal of this, right? And at the end of the day, you're still going to be assigning your contract, which is why when you actually give them the offer, you're going to give them the offer with these exact terms here, okay? Getting their off-market leads and building a relationship, right? And even if they have on-market deals, if they trust you and like you, then they might be willing to work a deeper discount for you, right? Also, if you have a connection with them, they'll tell you when there's a pending deal or a pending deal that is coming to the MLS soon. That way you could be the first to make an offer on this distressed property, right? So they'll give you a heads up. That's really good. So that's the whole point of doing this outreach. And potentially if you do this long enough, you're going to get a deal, right? Now, What's another thing I wanted to talk about? I know probably some of you have heard about the double dip strategy, which is really cool because you get to incentivize agents to work with you. So when a seller sells their house, they agree to pay. So this is the seller, right? I suck at drawing. This is the agent. The seller agrees to pay the agent 6% commissions. Typically, right? 6% commissions. These commissions include buyer commissions, buyer agent commissions, right? And listing agent commissions, right? Now, the buyer agent is usually the buyer agent, the person that is representing the buyer, and the listing agent is the agent that's representing the seller, right? That's the listing agent. Now, what we typically do is we let the listing agent become our buyer agent, so then they can get the full 6% commission, right? Because if they don't represent us, then they're only going to get 3% of the total purchase price, right? But if they become our buyer agent and represent us, then they're going to get a full 6% commission. So you'll tell them, hey, I know my offer's a little bit lower, but I don't have a buyer's agent. If you're willing, you can write up the offer and represent me as my buyer's agent. Typically, that incentivizes them to bring you more deals because they know that they're all going to make 6% rather than 3%. So that's just me kind of trying to explain the whole double dip technique, because that's just literally how it works. Keep in mind that seller agrees to pay 6% commission, but that 6%, 3 of it goes to the buyer and the other 3 goes to the listing agent. But if we can actually make the listing agent our buyer agent, then that makes them get the full 6%, right? So that's a good way to incentivize them to make more money and whatnot. So that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped you guys out with these terms and these 2 methods that I taught you guys. You guys should be able to start marketing and working with agents.